Today was World Puppy Farm Awareness Day. It's an emotional issue, one that many people and even dog owners are unaware of. And Dr. Chris Brown is back with us at the desk. Now, Chris, you've got a special report for us tonight on puppy factories. Yeah,
look, in my opinion, this is probably the biggest issue in pets today. It's got a lot of attention overseas, but comparatively very little locally. So that's why I was very keen to do this report. So just as a warning to viewers, some of you may find images in this report disturbing.
We've been requested to attend here by the police.
Got 3 dead and 2 live.
This is the hidden horror going on in our own backyard. Puppy factories. They're dog breeding facilities that literally factory farm our pets, mass producing puppies in unthinkably cruel conditions, all for the sake of profit.
We've seen horrendous conditions in puppy farms. Dogs in raised wire cages, in 44-gallon drums, in electrified dirt pens, and just the horrible psychological damage this does to a dog. It's incredibly cruel.
So they're breeding as many animals as they possibly can, cutting corners on the housing and the care of the animals. Unfortunately, there's casualties along the way.
Dogs are turned into money-making machines, forced to churn out litter after litter. Some spend their entire lives confined to the puppy factory cages. According to the RSPCA, almost half of all pet dogs in Australia began their lives in these conditions.
I guess these puppy farms are characterised by overcrowding, confinement of animals in small cages. There's a lack of a provision of basic needs for the animal, failure to provide veterinary treatment, the unsanitary conditions, and they all make for a very unpleasant environment and a poor animal welfare environment for these animals.
Activist Deborah Tranter has been campaigning to shut down puppy factories for 18 years. Just this month, she filmed inside this puppy farm in country Victoria and alerted the RSPCA.
We went out during the day to the puppy farm, and we ended up convincing the puppy farmer to surrender 4 dogs to us, and those 4 dogs needed veterinary attention.
These conditions were by far the worst I've seen animals being bred. It was quite depressing for the dogs to be living in. It ranged from really wet kennels with 3 or 4 dogs standing around their own urine in water. The whelping shed where the pups were kept, there was no natural sunlight at all.
These are 2 of the victims. Rescued from the puppy factory, they're now in the care of Trish Burke.
So what I thought I'd do is a full physical examination and just really see where they're at medically. I think emotionally is another entirely different matter, but let's, I guess, take care of medical first of all and see what we can find there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not great news. Now, immediately your eyes are drawn to one thing there. There is a very real chance it could be a breast cancer. This is just once again so often the result of repetitive breeding, causing a change in their hormone levels, causing them to be put at increased risk of developing these sorts of cancers.
It's not good enough. Sorry.
It's all right, no, it's fine.
It just shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't.
Animal welfare groups claim the trade is fuelled by consumer demand for designer dogs, and they're now calling for a boycott of pet shops selling puppies. But not everyone agrees.
There should never be a ban on pet shops selling live animals. We are under tight restrictions, which we encourage because there are pet shops that may be not as ethical as others, and we would like to see them run out of town.
I just hope that the community become aware that the fluffy little puppy and the cute puppy that you're purchasing may have come from a puppy farm.
With public awareness on the issue increasing, there are now calls for tougher animal welfare laws and a better regulated industry.
It's heartbreaking for me because when you're in those shed, their eyes, it's almost like they're screaming a silent agony to you, and it's incredibly difficult to turn your back and walk away.
But for those working tirelessly to put an end to puppy factories, there's one thing that keeps them going.
There's an opportunity to make a change in those animals, for them to be treated, cared for, rehabilitated, and for them to wind up in a loving, caring environment.
I'll continue this until puppy farming's abolished.
Saying goodbye, this is just where love goes, when words aren't warm enough to keep away the cold.
So sad. it's hard to believe it still goes on. And for more on this, we're now joined by Ali Jalbert from the RSPCA. Ali, thanks for joining us. It's just heartbreaking to see those puppies, but for people that do want to buy a puppy, how can they make sure they're not supporting those puppy factories?
Look, I think people who want to bring a new puppy into their life really have the options of going to an animal shelter and rescuing a puppy or an adult dog, even from there, that make great pets. Or the other option, if they're really after a puppy, is you want to actually try and find a reputable breeder. That's not just a registered breeder, because there are a lot that are registered that aren't so reputable. So you want a reputable breeder where the process is really transparent. You get to see the mum, the pups, where they were born, the sire as well. That's really the best way to ensure that you're getting a puppy that hasn't come from a factory farming situation. Unfortunately, until the pet shop industry can be a lot more transparent, I would say, avoid that, because you can't guarantee you're not supporting this factory farming.
Now, Ali, we saw that you removed 50 dogs from that puppy factory, but there are still 150 still there. What are your plans for those dogs? Yeah, look, it's a tough one. From the standpoint that there is still an open investigation into that matter. So the RSPCA inspectors and the local council are both investigating. We're still in contact with the owner and are hopeful that we can secure more surrenders of dogs from the property. But I suppose it really highlights I suppose, inadequacies in the current legislation here in Victoria, but across the country as well, and the fact that these sorts of factory and farming operations can exist, can be registered, are supplying the internet, supplying pet shops, and that we really don't have adequate powers, and more importantly, we do not have adequate resources to actually deal with this, and the government just needs to do something about it. Well, thanks for chatting to us tonight, Ali. Good luck with the campaign, and we understand also that those puppies that were rescued from the puppy factory are now up for adoption, which is great news. If you want details, go to the 7pm website, all the info's there. That's great that they actually now can go to a good home. I guess, what you're looking for here is some sort of good news out of this. It's such a horrific issue, but if, I guess, we can find these puppies some love, they're so overdue for love. If we can actually give them a happy ending, it's a great result.
We've got a rescue dog, and our rescue dog is fantastic. So rescue dogs are the way to go.
You just got very emotional in that report. How would you describe those breeders?
Look, I just can't see how someone can spend so much time with animals and supposedly love them and care for them, yet show them those sort of conditions, and that's what I guess I have such a trouble with.
Head to our website for more information, but right now we're